Hello everyone and welcome back to Packs and Recreation, and today a fantasy becomes a reality when I finally find a box of Pharaoh's servant. And I know what you're thinking. No one cares, my man, but that's where you're wrong. Everyone cares. At least I care. So what do I care so much about this? Well, in case you are new to this, in case you're new to the channel, the reason why I am really happy about this box is because this is my favorite set / box ever in Yu-Gi-Oh. When I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I am one of the OGs because it was when Yu-Gi-Oh was launched. Pharaoh Servant was actually the first booster that I ever got. I actually got a bunch of them. Well, a bunch. I got like 5. And that was a big effort for my mom. So, and then I didn't really resonate with the other themes. And it's not that, a set with the name Pharaoh's Servant, you will think that is, not very attractive because, come on. But the cards that I got, man, all of them just really slapped. So I was always happy about it. And up to this point, I could only get a few boosters here and there and never a full box. So I actually managed to get a box. And this is going to be Nostalgia the video, right? So the movie, the game. Can I ninja one of these? Apparently I can. This is part of the quarter of a century anniversary stuff that Konami is releasing for Yu-Gi-Oh! That other companies could learn from, actually. Metal detector. All of this is great. Obviously there is a chase card in here. Well, but nothing is a chase card in here anymore. But if one will say, oh, Salmon's law book, look at this, how small the text is. Keep your own standby phase. Okay. And even if they had all the space in the world to put the text in there, they were like, nah, we're just keep it small. And we have normal monsters again. Overdrive, which is an all-terrain armored vehicle armed with a heavy-duty machine gun. And it has more attack than some creatures called like Lord of the Abyss and stuff like that. I gotta love Yu-Gi-Oh! Prohibition is the rare here. Activated by declaring one card name. Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used. Cards already on the field are not affected, including face-down cards. So this is when Yu-Gi-Oh! Started to switch a little bit more to like effects and crazy things. Ooh, Goblin Attack Force, let's go! Like, see, this is how I roll. Plus, this is not just a reprint. It is a reprint, but it's not just a reprint. The size of the art and everything is adjusted to the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Art size. If you look at the original cards from this era, the art was actually a little bit smaller, which I know is hard to believe, but it is the case. I actually have some. I can show you in a second. Three-headed Guido, or Jido. See, this is the type of card that I was like, man, I wish this thing was more useful. And it's also the era where like 4-star monsters that are more or less useful were more common and not so awful like in Legend of Blue Eyes. Armored Glass, I remember this one as well. Man, this is like memory land right here. Word Suppression and Bubonic Vermin. Like, I will get one and show you. I know I already pulled these once in other video, but hey, just in case you're new to the channel. So here I have a bunch of cards. Let me see if there is any from the OGs. Gyroid, Necro Garuda, maybe wrong binder, maybe. Let's see. I think it is the wrong. Maybe it's the wrong binder. I think it is the wrong binder. Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of cards in different languages, and that was something that I started doing afterwards. So maybe, yeah, because I have here cards in Spanish, in Portuguese. In English. Sometimes it's just because they are cheaper, sometimes it's because they are presents or gifts. Well, I mean, I really wanted to get one from Pharaoh's servant just to, you know, make it a point, but I guess wrong binder, guys. Sorry, oops. Let me get the other one. This time I checked before bringing the binder. So, a bunch of cool stuff in here. A lot of them old, some of them not that old. And I guess the last time I did this, I think it was this binder that I pulled. And I actually showed the Enchanted Javelin because I wanted to compare the effect and the text on both. But yeah, for example, Darkfire Soldier, which you have number 1 and number 2, and I always love these cards with number 1 and 2 and see if there is any connection in them or something. Or it's just that they ask for different art or why they had different specs. In this case, they have more or less the same specs. This one just has more defense, 50 more defense. But yeah, let's use Darkfire Soldier number 2 for this comparison. So just move this. So let's compare old YuGiOh, classic YuGiOh, with new YuGiOh. In case people say like, oh, there are no changes. Well, there are changes in color. As you can see, it was a lot more yellow before. Because it's like kind of sand color. I guess sand is the proper thing because there were monsters in stones, remember? So a lot more sand color, a lot less sand color, more yellow. Now it's like more sand, more like wavy. Maybe it's also the print quality. So maybe the text box for the name was a lot bigger as well, and overall, like it also has this darker color here instead of being like white or like lighter at least, and the art was smaller, as you can see, because of the border size. So the art was actually smaller. It looked a lot more like encased in stone, which I think it was, or like inside a stone or something, which I guess it was the idea. And then besides that, also the text box was smaller, as you can see, because it also has more space to the sides, which is crazy. Imagine that. And also the margins are something just entirely optional. Like you can see that Ruthless is next to the thing, but there is a space. But here, off is just on top of the box. So, you know, small differences for the OGs right there. And the back is always the back. So they can't change the back, otherwise the game just breaks. Even though everyone uses sleeves, or at least you should. And as you can see, those cards are like very normal cards with no value whatsoever, but I keep them as my sacred treasures just because, well, to me they do hold a special meaning, right? Those are my first trading cards, the first boosters I pulled, you know, the beginning of a whole thing. The Thousand Eyes Idol. This thing is only here because of Relinquished. So yeah, because the most useless thing ever. And it's funny because it doesn't look like it is the most useless thing ever. Like the bubonic vermin is stronger than the Thousand Eyes Idol by a lot. Now it says here there is a wicked entity that controls the hearts of men. Its thousand eyes are able to see and expand the negative influences in an individual's soul. So you will expect that this thing is beyond 0-0, but obviously there's a reason for that, and it's all plot related. Plus, if it was an idol like a statue, it will be more logic. It's like that, but it says an entity and it has like legs that looks flexible and stuff. So yeah, Type 0 Magic Crusher. Look, I should have waited to do the comparison. Darkfire Soldier number 2. There you go. Now the off is still kind of on top of the line, but not as much as in the other. Not bad. Darkfire Soldier number 1. So we got both. I could have done a perfect comparison. Michizure in rare. Like, look at this. I remember using this card so much. This card was so annoying with people, or 4 people, or 2 people. Ground Collapse, Enchanted Javelin. There you go. This is the one that I used to do the comparison the last time I opened like 3 boosters or something like that. Spikebot. Man, I pulled this card once and I was like, oh, that's bad. I remember I was one of the few people that actually tried to play like the rule set and not like the anime in the time of the Dual Island. So a spike bot is really just a bad card because you need to sacrifice one for nothing, like monster with no effect. Like, why would you use a spike bot if you can just run Darkfire Soldier? It's like, yeah, 100 more attack, but like, are you really going to sacrifice Darkfire Soldier number 1 or 2 for a spike bot? No, you're not. Another Bubonic Vermin, which is great because if you flip it, you can special summon one Bubonic Vermin for your deck in a face down position, then shuffle your deck. So it's kind of a bubonic plague. That's the whole joke. So it's going to be like the happiest box opening ever. Sky Scout. Wait a second. Sky Scout? What? Isn't this Harpy's brother or something? What? They changed the name and no one told me? I guess it's because to avoid mixing it with the Harpy lady's archetype. But like, what the With eyes like a hawk and a flying speed exceeding Mach 5, this monster is a master of the sky. And it's actually a very good card because 1,800. Like, yes, Gemini Elf was out by this time, so Gemini Elf was the thing. But this is basically Legend. But wait a second. Sky Scout? That's like the worst name. Yeah, I had to go to the binder again. Sorry, I know I wasn't crazy. Harpy's brother, with eyes like a hawk and flying speed exceeding Mach 5. This monster is a master of the sky. Yes, but why? Like, well, note to self. I need to see like if there is any reason to change this beyond the archetype. I think this is just the archetype to avoid saying like Harpy's brother and then having a text here saying like this is not a Harpy card or something. They just changed the name to Sky Scout. Like, what the hell? Like, this is just awful. Like, what the hell? Okay, so after a pause, because I mean this is all going to be edited together, but like so that you know, I had to stop because my nostalgia was like, what? So technically, first, it's not the first time they changed this. They changed this in Astral Pack 2. So sorry for not being up to date, I guess. And second, okay, it's bad, but it's not as bad as it looks. It's just bad for nostalgia reasons. And it's exactly because of what I was supposing it was. It's because of the archetypes. So nowadays, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all archetypes, for better or worse. Back in the day, not so much. So the name of this card in Japanese is Badoman, which is Birdman, basically. And yeah, it's not called Harpy in any way. So it has no relations to the Harpy sisters or anything. And there is a Harpy archetype. And so it's exactly the reasons what I was assuming. And apparently they changed it to avoid confusion. They also changed or errated other cards like Wat Kid and so on. So I'm going to suffer there. But yeah, I will hope they just call it Birdman, but I'm assuming they can't because Birdman is a superhero with copyright, also a movie. So a Sky Scout is kind of, but at the same time, Sky Scout, like, okay, if he was called Harpy's brother, and that's like very meh, it's like saying that, oh, you are this guy's wife, right? It's like, oh, do you have any name or personality? Like, what's up? Like, so nowadays, this card will be called something crazier than Harpy's brother. Like the translators at the time were having fun, like it's sure, it's like a bird, so Birdman, yeah, it's the Harpy's brother. And the card was kind of cool. I always like this card. I actually use it a lot because it's actually good stats for for the time when normal monsters were a thing. I had one copy, the copy you saw, that I pulled that one. So it's not like a mistake of translation, it's just they were trying to make it more flavorful and concise, and that's cool. But nowadays it doesn't work because it will create just a bunch of confusion for people. But Sky Scout is just so generic. Nowadays this card will be called something like, I don't know, it has to be like a pony name. So it will be like Claudius, the herald of the skies, right, or something like that, or Wingiam, the Sky Avenger or something. Like nowadays that will be the name of the card. Sky Scout just sounds so Magic the Gathering, so dry. Like, it's a Sky Scout, whatever. Like, but plus the description is like, oh, this guy is so fast, right? And it's like, yeah, it's just Sky Scout. Like, there are like millions of like him. It's like, meh. Time Seal, great. Sorry for the deviation, but I was just like, my nostalgia. So I had to look into it. Oh man, the Eye of Truth. Thousand Eyes Idol, again. School Invitation, nice. Spike Bot again. I have a feeling we're gonna get a bunch of repetition. Oh, Kisetai, I remember this card. This guy's so weird. Everyone trying to like understand. Oh, Bite Shoes. I actually had a deck because I had Bite Shoe. I put Bite Shoe in a deck, and I was like, change the attack or defense position of one face-up monster on the field. This card must remain face-up. Like, it's just like, you know, it's the most whatever. Like, you could do some setups, back attack and receive as well, man. Like back in the day when you had to like, you know, actually it was all about the attack and so on. Like, for example, if the opponent had brothers Harpy's sister, or sorry, Sky Scout, like a 1800, that's a difficult thing to kill, but 600 easy. So you put By Shoes, you twist its ankle, and then boom, there you go. So Overdrive, and I guess that the original idea, give some mystical elf. The original idea for the Yu-Gi-Oh card, Flame Champion, is on the same category as Spikebot. It's just like, okay, I guess. Oh, the two-headed fire dragon, man. I never pulled this one. I won it because sometimes you play it against other kids and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to bet my most powerful card. And that was before Battle City. So like we actually played by the rules, not so much, and there was a lot of headbutting. We had to agree on how the game was played and what the effects were. But this part we invented before Battle City. Like, yeah, what's the best card? It's like this twin-headed fire dragon. So I have it in the portfolio as well, and I want it. This is kind of okay, but again, if you have Summon Skull, everything else is whatever. Dimension Hole, because again, you don't have archetypes, so it's really about what's more powerful and what else can you use to. Dimension Hole is all together. I don't remember this being the name of the card. Weird, man. Burning Land. That's another one that Yugi equipped that to Curse of Dragon, and it's like, what? Word Suppression, Earthshaker, and Driving Snow. Nice. So yeah, basically, as you can see, like, I'm not going to stop at every card. Like when we already saw the cards, like whatever. But the 4-star Ladybug of Doom, destroy all 4-level monsters your opponent controls. This was also like very good to have like a board wipe of sorts. DNA Surgery. This is one of those that your mind kind of can think about stuff. Activate this card, become one monster type, and everything becomes that type. You know, when you have like a bug deck. For the bug deck, that was like the thing. Because or when you had like the bug spray. So it's like, okay, everything is bugs, and then 7 completed. Everyone wanted to have 3 7 completed because of Bandit Keith, I think is the name. Monster Recovery. Oh, this is another classic one that Yugi had, and everyone's like, yay! Like, and amazing. And in rare. Science Soldier. It's like, whatever. So soldiers equipped with state-of-the-art weaponry to face unknown creatures. Like, whatever. Solemn Wishes. Increase your life points by 500 points each time you draw a card or cards. So there is that. That's another classic. Gamble. Oh man, I used Gamble so many times. Dark Bat. I remember pulling one of these. Like, actually, I think I have 2. One I pulled and the other I won. Like, yeah, because kids not always. It depends on who you play, right? Like sometimes you play for fun and that's it. And sometimes in the playground or in the park or around or whatever, you have like people going like full anime mode, right? And be like, yeah, want to bet something? Want to bet Light of Intervention. Want to bet your best card? Jirochin Kuwata. Like, I remember people trying to pronounce this. It was actually kind of okay. But again, if you have Harpy's brother or Lajin, it's like whatever. Which is a shame, right? Like a lot of these monsters, you're like, oh, okay. And then it's like, meh. Despite its small size, this monster has powerful jaws that can rip metal to shreds. So, like, yeah, actually so powerful that they can kill a Celtic Guardian. So, or Celtic Guardian, whatever you want to call it. Oh, Light Force Sword. I never pulled this one. I actually had like a copy, like a false one. And the effect, it was not this effect. It was like some sort of like the anime effect or something. Because that was another thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Ooh, Parasite in foil, let's go! A lot of the things where like people just, like you could go to like like these convenience stores, like sort of like the Quickie Mart. It's not, because it wasn't really like 7-Eleven. So it's not that type of convenience store. It's more like, because the Quickie Mart is technically 7-Eleven, but this was more of like Gradius, which is a great reference to another Konami property. It's a shame that the card is not that good. But you put 7 completed on it. Shadow of Ice. When a monster is set to your opponent's field, target one of those set monsters, change that monster to face up attack position, flip effects are not activated. This was very good. Because there were like 2 ways of removing things, like with Trap Hole or with Monitor Bug or something like that. And if you knew, you knew, because either people just play straightforward, they will just hide stuff. So that was kind of the... Gust. Gust, I pulled one. I tried to use it by any means, and then I was like, maybe. I don't know. Darkfire Soldier, man, so many memories with this. Dimension Hole with it in rare again. Or secret or whatever. Dokuro Jaiba is one of those that is like, man, what a cool design, what a cool thing. A boomerang with brains that will pursue a target to the ends of the earth. This is something that I miss a lot about YuGiOh, which is the flavor text and just the weird monsters. And like these 2 are unusable for different reasons. Steel Ogre Grotto number 2. There's number 1 as well. It's also bad. A mechanized iron doll with tremendous strength. I miss the flavor text because that's where your imagination really flies, right? You go like, oh man, this thing does that, those thing does that. Like there is no more types of monster. I don't remember if Pharaoh's Servant has like fusion monsters on it. I think it does, maybe. But I can't remember. Certainly not rituals. So respect play. I remember this one. During their opponent's turn, each player must show their opponents their hand. I remember having this one, and that was such a pain. Even more, like, it was kind of useless. Like you will use it just to be like a power move, because again, as people will, depending on the country you play. Oh, that's tornado in foil, man! Come on. Depending on the country you were and the age that you started playing YuGiOh. Oh, they all seeing White Tiger. See, another one that is like cool. It's kind of useless, but cool. Ooh, Infinite Dismissal. Level 3 or lower monsters are destroyed, and then you have like the something bind thing that is like a ball with an energy field on top. Gravity bind or something. 3-headed YuGiOh twice? Come on. There's like everything above level 4 can attack or something like that. Those were the things. Those were the times, man. Those were the real YuGiOh times, not this modern shit. Mr. Volcano. Look at this awful card. This seemingly mild-mannered creature has an extremely volatile temper. It's like, coming this Saturday to CBS. It's like, whatever. Mr. Volcano. What a useless card. Oh man, Sword Hunter, let's go. I think that the first booster that I opened in my life, if I recall it, like, I need to check, because weirdly enough, my mom remembers. So I need to check with my mom, because that was I was that loud the moment I opened the first booster. But I don't remember if the first booster was the one I pulled Sword Hunter or was the one I pulled Jinzo. And maybe, only maybe, I pulled both in the same booster, because the Jinzo is a rare one in foil, right? So maybe, I don't know, but my mom knows for sure, which is weird. But man, I tried to play Sword Hunter so much, like it didn't make any sense in most of the decks that I played it, and it didn't have the text formatted like this. I can tell you from memory, like they didn't have this dot, like maybe they changed the text or something. To be honest, the text was kind of confused, because it's like, oh, every creature you kill, you can equip it to it or something, and it gets 200 attack for each thing equipped. Yeah, so the card is not like super duper, because you need 2 sacrifices, and again, you get less attack than Summon Skull, so it's like whatever. At the end of battle phase, if this card destroyed a monster by battle and sent it to the graveyard, this battle phase equip all those monsters from the graveyard to this card as an equip spell with this effect. Equip monster against 200 attack. Well, all those monsters? Ah, wait, the ones that were destroyed. Yeah, the text is different. See, like it wasn't like that. I remember trying to play this card so much and being like, yo, man, this card. And people will actually like flip. I actually remember misplaying it. Like I will read the effect in a different way, and it will be more powerful than it actually was. Force Requisition. What? See, maybe it was the same. I can tell you that I never had Force Requisition, so it's not like, oh, it's the same literal booster from your younger times. But this is a fucking coincidence. If I ever saw one, what the fuck? Like this, like the first booster I ever opened ever had Sword Hunter and Jinzo in foil, and this booster is the same, which actually kind of proves that maybe boosters are not that random, and maybe they are kind of have configurations. Maybe, I don't know. For Magic is the case for sure. I don't know for Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know for this. But man, and again, these cards are kind of useless. Okay, Jinzo is kind of cool to this day and it's still useful. But man, it's so cool. Like, let's go, Jinzo, man. And like all the foilness, Jinzo in all of its foiliness, and even the freaking J. You can tell that the name Jinzo wasn't made for these text boxes that are smaller, because look at the J hanging for its life right there in the border, like outside of the text box. Like, come on. Like, oh man. Also the change, the text for Jinzo. Oh man, I love this. Like, trap cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated. Negate all traps effects on the field. Like, oh man. Like, end of video. We need to open more shit. Like, this is it. This is the best booster ever. Come on. Oh man. Fucking Jinzo and Sword Hunter in the same booster. What are the fucking odds? Sorry for the language, but I'm just like, wow. And whatever. The other cards, I'm just like, man, come on. And again, this is the power of nostalgia. And this is why, when you ask yourself, like, why do they keep doing remakes of old stuff? Or why does Konami keep putting Yugi in and old characters in their boxes, even though they haven't appeared in the anime for the longest time? And it's because of guys like me. Because I buy a box of unusable cards that are just in here for nostalgia reasons, like all the other 5 sets that they released for the 25th anniversary, which, mind you, I really appreciate, and I think is a lot better of a strategy than the one Magic did with the Magic 30 thing, which is bullshit. So kudos to Konami for this strategy. I mean, they get money, I get nostalgia, everyone wins. Then, plus, but I have to say, it was kind of very difficult to get my hands on these boxes, and I wanted to buy one of each at least, and I couldn't. So maybe I wasn't lucky, or Konami didn't print that many because they were like, whatever. So, again, useless cards. I mean, Jinzo still kicks ass. Come on. But, see, the nostalgia is a very powerful tool. And I mean, this coincidence is beyond crazy. I mean, yikes. So, Oni-Tank T-34. I remember this card. I think I have one copy of this one. This is one of those that you try to make reasons in your head. An armored tank possessed by a fiend that will pursue enemies until they are crushed. And you will be like, yeah, it has high defense. Maybe I can put it in my deck. And it's like, why though? And that's one of the things that hurts me the most about how Yu-Gi-Oh! Evolved. Nobleman of Extermination. I had this one. And I think also in Rare with the shiny title. Oh, that's cool. Insect Imitation. I love how I say, like, oh, I had this one, as if I lost them all, and they are all in a binder, like 2 meters away from me. Insect Imitation, not bad. Dokuro Yaiba, the All-Seeing What Tiger. This was in a starter deck, I think. I don't know if Kaibas or Yugi. I can't remember. Or maybe none, I'm just confusing, because I have this card as well. And Inspection. I remember having Michizuri and Appropriate? Or Expropriate? I think it's Appropriate. What I was saying, I think that the thing that hurts me the most about how Yu-Gi-Oh! Changed, I think, but that's, oh man, Minor Goblin Official, come on, let's go. See how many trap cards, and then they released Jinzo, which is like, there's not a single trap card that matters as long as I am on the field. So yeah, Pharaoh Servant was like the trap card set. Oh, there you go, Appropriate. There you go. I had this card. I actually misused it for a long time. Activate only when your opponent draws a card outside of either draw phase. After that, each time your opponent draws a card, you immediately draw 2 cards, which is not bad. It's kind of very powerful, but they need to pick a second card, which is kind of a... Fairy Meteor Crush in foil. Let's go, baby, let's go. Kind of whatever at this point. But you do piercing damage, which, again, Kisetai, attack and receive, Burning Land, and Bite Shoes. So what hurts me the most is the whole attack and defense, right? So if I never insect barrier, there you go. If you never explained Yu-Gi-Oh to someone and you show them this monster and you're like, okay, now this monster fight that monster, your first instinct will be to be like, oh, okay, so it's my attack against their defense. It's like, nope, because actually you need to put the monster in defense position, and that's only where the defense counts, right? Oh, Wing Weaver, I remember this one. This was kind of okay, like 2 sacrifices and so on. I always thought that the art was for the power that it has, which is another thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. Sometimes, Shift, I use this one as well so many times. Sometimes the best looking cards are like simple cards, and the Regulation of the Tribe. This brings memories. Drill Bug. I had this one. I also tried to make it work because when you pull some cards, you're like, okay, this thing is going to work. I only got like a booster every 2 months or something, so I was like, oh, okay, Mr. Volcano again. Island Turtle. So the thing is, Naruto is training somewhere here. The thing is, I wish that the defense was used more in the way that you expected. So that, plus, can we talk about how Flame Champion has like the shield as the main thing and Jet defense is not its main thing, which is weird. And a lot of monsters have like high summoning costs or like star levels, because they have like very leveled attack and defense. And that's also another thing that makes you think that a monster that has very leveled attack and defense is like good. So the only reason why Summon Skull is cheap is because it's like, oh, okay, you have 2,500, but then you only have 1,500 defense, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that means that he's a glass cannon. It's like, nope, not really. As long as that thing is in attack mode, he's the strongest one summon monster for a long time, right? Oh, Infinite Dismissal again. So like the only reason why Dark Bad is like 3 stars, 1,000 is because it's 1,000. 3 stars because it's 1,000, right? It's like 4 stars, crazy. It's like, nope, like it's all over the place. And 5 stars for this only because the stats are so balanced. But again, this will make sense if it's my attack against your defense. But if you think about it, then the cards have to be all redesigned, because that still wouldn't matter for most cards. Like if you have a Summon Skull and like I have to beat your 2,500, but then if I only need to beat like the 1,500 of defense, then I can just use Lajin and wipe you, and that's it. Like Wing Weaver makes sense as a 2 sacrifice card because these are more aware balanced, but you still die to Summon Skull here, but not here, right? So to me that's the weirdest. Ooh, let's go! 1,000 Eyes Restrict, foil rare, all the things. Yeah, it's a fusion. So there is a fusion monster. Is the fusion between Relinquished and the 1,000 Eyes Idol. So we need Relinquished. Well, for Relinquished, that's a ritual monster, if I recall correctly, right? So actually, there is a ritual in here, and there is a ritual monster, and there is a fusion monster. At least I hope they are all in here. Maybe they are not. But I remember these cards as well. They kind of try to adapt the thing to what Pegasus did with it in the series, but yeah, no, it was way too powerful. Oh, Souls of the Forgotten. I had this one as well. I was like, well, not much to do. Even back then, I was like, well, not much to do. It's just paper. Can we talk for a second about Pegasus? Like obviously anime and dramatic effect and all that, but like, and yeah, he was cheating with the Millennium. Oh, let's go. He was cheating with the Millennium Eye, which is okay because that's part of the lore. But you know what is bullshit for sure is the guy created the card game, so he came to the fights with new cards that he made specifically for those fights. It's like, how the hell do you want me to prepare for that? Like, it's impossible. And he was like, yeah, so this is Toon World, and it does this and this. It's like, bro, you can invent whatever effect you want. It's impossible. Plus, can we talk about Flying Kamakiri, which is not flying? Darkfire Soldier number 2, Minor Goblin official. Darkfire Soldier number 1. So again, the Shallow Grave. Let's go. Each player targets one monster in their own graveyard. Each player special summons that target from their graveyard in a face down defense position. Ground Collapse, Inspection, Quartz Suppression, Major Riot. If you ask me, I don't know how would I have improved the thing of the attack defense thing. I think I will go like in Magic. And I mean, we have to compare it to Magic. This thing exists because of Magic, right? So, well, this is inspired by it. It has to be. Ooh, Invitation to a Dark Sleep, which I have this one. I pulled this one. I remember that I always was like, why is the name of the creature Invitation to a Dark Sleep? Like, I like it, but when this monster is summoned, excluding a special summon, select one of your opponent monsters. As long as this card remains face up on the field, the selected monster cannot attack. So it's sleeping. And again, not very useful because you need to do one sacrifice. Like the only thing that you can do is that you use it as some sort of lock for another monster, and you put it in defense. Like you have to summon. You can summon face up defense like in the anime. So you need to put it face up. Not much of a defense here. Again, if the stats were used like in Magic, so attack versus defense, right? That will make more of a sense. But if not the case, so Shift, let's go. Drill Bug again, Solemn Wishes, Dark Bat, and Infinite Dismissal. That will change the design of the creatures and will make the Link monsters impossible to be. Which, yeah, like Link monsters to me are more of a thing, or more of a reasonable thing, because precisely they don't have defense because it doesn't matter. Now, Michizuri again, let's go. Deep Sea Water, I remember this one. A lot of times I remember them, not only because like, I pulled them or I won them, but also because they were like very bad. Like, see, one sacrifice, because the stats are very balanced or something. Plus, it's like one sacrifice, you want to summon it face down, like for why? As long as Umi is face up on the field, this card is unaffected by spell cards. Like, yeah, so one sacrifice for these stats, and the spell only triggers because of Umi, and you need Umi on the field, so yeah, no. Regulations of Tribe, All-Seeing White Tiger, and Major Riot. So the that will change. That also will make creatures like. Also, I guess it will eliminate the need for the defense mode, and I love defense mode. Skull Mariner. I love the other creature that is like, oh, cool. Shame that we have a bunch of creatures above this, so not much of a point here. Hayabusa Knight, let's go. I have this one. I pulled it if I recall correctly. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. And I remember the confusion that this card generated because it's like, so it has 2,000 attack. It's like, no. It has 1,000 twice. It's like, yeah, that's 2,000. It's like, no. So if the opponent had no defenses, then yeah, it's 2,000 damage. But if it's against creatures, not so much. Bombardment Beetle. See, this set is full of weird creatures like this, and I try to make them work in my ever growing, ever changing deck with little success. But hey, we had fun. So Wing Weaver, Sky Scout, may you rest in peace. Invitation to a Dark Sleep, Cyber Falcon. Morphing Jar number 2, let's go. I love that's rock type. It's like, okay. Flip. Shuffle all your monsters on the field into the deck. Then each player excavates cards from the top of their deck until they excavate the same number of monsters they shuffled into their main deck. I love that they use excavate instead of the proper words. It's like, what are you, Magic using keywords now? Like, what does excavate mean? Special summon all excavated level 4 or lower monsters in face down defense position. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard. Backup Soldier in foil, remember this one. Well, there are 5 or more monsters in your graveyard, target up to 3 non-effect monsters with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard and add them to your hand. Useful. You're not going to go crazy over it, but it's useful. Katamari number 2, Ogre God number 2, and Souls of the Forgotten. A lot of number 2s in here. No pun intended. I guess that the defense position will make sense, even if you use attack versus defense, because that means that you don't get piercing damage. But again, right, like, then what's the point? Always have it in defense mode, but you can attack. And the only thing I see is that if changing modes, you can attack. If you can't attack if you change the mode. I don't know, I'm trying to redesign Yu-Gi-Oh, but Vampire Baby, I always hated this card. And I never had it like for real. I had like a copy that a kid gave me. And that was another thing. Sometimes you will pay for fake cards or stuff like that, and you'll be like, okay, but like you need to level it out. So like you're not going to give like an original for a copy and stuff like that. And yeah, at the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed a monster by battle and sent it to the graveyard this turn, you can special summon that monster to the field. It's very difficult for this to happen unless you like play your cards pretty well. Haha, get it? Enchanted Javelin, this card was so misused. Shadow of Ice, Burning Land, and Gamble. And if a card was in the anime, you can bet your behind it was misplayed. Because people will be like, yeah, Burning Land, so I equip it to Curse of Dragon. It's like, nope, that's not how it works. Respect Play, 7 completed, Flame Champion, Cyber Falcon, The Shallow Grave again, in rare, Enchanted Javelin, Rain of Mercy, Bombardment Beetle, and Deep Sea Water. And now for the last Boosterino. I mean, we got Thousand Eyes Restrict in rare foil, got Jinzo and the Source Hunter in the same booster. Like, I almost kind of lost a little of my voice right there. So, I mean, I don't care what this booster has. This box is a win already for me. So, Cold Wave, Insect Barrier, Light of Intervention. Which, you see, this is also another thing. If you're going to have like the defense and the attack thing between these and Sword and Shield, the game before that was a lot more about like turning your cards and screwing up with your attack and defense and all that. That's something that I think is lost right away, but also because back in the day it was a lot about higher powers, like attack, and whoever has higher attack just attacks. Ooh, Magic Drain, let's go. Counter Trap card. When your opponent activates a spell card, they can discard one spell to negate this card's effect. Otherwise, negate the activation of their spell card, and if you do, destroy it. Love it. I don't think I have this one, at least I don't remember. Science Soldier, Regulation of the Tribe, Flying Kamakiri number 2, and Driving Snow. And that's the box. Now, if you ask me, if I had the possibility of buying God knows how many Pharaoh Servant boxes, I would, just because nostalgia is a powerful thing. And if I had the chance, so Konami, like, heads up, if I had the chance to just buy like, I don't want it as a gift, I just want to buy them, to buy like one box of each of the 5 reprints that were done because of the quarter of a century anniversary, or even, you know what, like even 3 boxes of each, even 5 boxes of each. Like, I would really like to do like a draft with old boxes and then just play Yu-Gi-Oh with the old boxes. And yes, it will be kind of tricky because if you do a draft, it has to be of the same box. Like if you do a draft of Legend of Blue Eyes, yeah, you need to, you really need to just stick to that box. Everyone needs to stick to that box, because if you mix Pharaoh Servant with Legend of Blue Eyes, whoever is getting cards from here is just winning for sure. And then you have like, I don't remember the Metal Raiders and then Dark something. Those 2 are even worse in terms of power creep. So yeah, but I would love to do it. I mean, this is just fun. It's just another version of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a simpler version of Yu-Gi-Oh. Doesn't mean it's better. To a lot of points, I just think it had some things that I think that are funnier or more fun to play with. But at the same time, I feel that there is a lot of bullshit that we thankfully got rid of. Like now it's not about the most powerful attack. It's more about the combos that you do and the archetypes and all that. And that's nice. Games evolve, people evolve, right? It's like this game has been around for a quarter of a century, my friends. And that's a long time. So yeah, let me know down below what you think about this pool. I am already in love with this pool, with these pools, as you know. So let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share your stories about old boosters and crazy pools, or what was your first booster? What did it have in it? Do you remember? And hey, Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time on Packs and Recreation. Bye.